get assessed for ADHD?
Well, for me, it kind of started in lockdown, I think, because I was like, there was something going on, because I was like, I'd been to doctors for depression and anxiety, and then like they tried to help me with all that sorts of stuff, and then I was like, there is something well more than just like anxiety and depression.
Did they just give you antidepressants for it?
They did. They tried, and they offered it to me, but I wasn't interested. I didn't want it because I'd heard so many horror stories of people saying when they went on antidepressants and all that sorts of stuff that like they felt like they lost their spark.
Yeah, I get that.
And all that sorts of stuff. So it's like I didn't want to end up taking medication because I was worried of that happening.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I just tried doing other things to like better my lifestyle and help with my anxiety and depression and everything like that. And nothing was changing. I was still struggling and everything. So it was when I'd downloaded TikTok and started watching TikTok videos, which is funny because it's like you see a lot of like self-diagnosis from like TikTok videos and stuff like that, where people see a video and they'll maybe, I don't know, find a couple of symptoms that they'll relate with. And then they'll be like, oh yeah, I've got ADHD.
That's the thing though, with a lot of our symptoms, everybody does it, but they don't do it to
our level, sort of.
They don't do it every day. Like everyone loses a phone, everyone loses the keys, that's fine. Everyone's, all right, everyone has got traits of ADHD, but it doesn't mean you are ADHD because it literally is a daily occurrence, hourly occurrence with us.
It never leaves us. Like, it's not just phones, keys, anything. It's doctor's appointments, it's families' birthdays, anniversaries, ordering medication and having to do all that stuff. It's like, so you forget everything. And it's the weirdest thing because it's like, it was funny actually. I seen a pillow in a window of a charity shop like the other day, and it like brought back a memory of a pillow that I had when I was younger, and I could describe this pillow perfectly, like every detail of it. But then it's like, I can't remember like what like I done last week and stuff like that. It's mental the way our brains and our memory and everything works.
Yeah, it's like we have got a bad memory, but it's like the working memory is shocking. But when we remember stuff and we remember memories, and I remember a lot of bad stuff, unfortunately. So that's obviously what comes out when I'm angry. But we remember a lot of things that people are like, how do you even remember that? But that's because it's meant something to us or it's affected us. Whereas our working memory, like booking a doctor's appointment or losing your phone and keys, that's what other symptoms were, like what, other than your anxiety and depression and stuff, what other symptoms?
My erratic behaviour was one of them. And
do you know, I just know that, like, in being impulsive.
Yeah, like just impulsive, constantly interrupting people, and just, I don't know, just, I was just a lot. Like, I was just a lot for people to deal with. And it was only then when I was like, okay, so these are starting to sound like I'm relating to them. I was like, right, okay, so I started looking into it, started watching like videos, like looking up like all sorts of different things. So for me, it wasn't just, because I feel like what a lot of people do is like they'll see that TikTok and they'll see that and that's it. And then like they'll go off that. Whereas like with me, it's like,
go down the rabbit hole a little bit.
Yeah, because I genuinely was like, I like went in hyper-focus with it. So I started like looking up all sorts of stuff, looking into it and speaking to like other people who have it as well, and then speaking to friends who have it, and they turned around to me, and the amount of people that turned around to me was like, you know what, it would make sense. Like when I actually started explaining it to them and stuff like that, they were like, well, why don't you get tested? Like what's the harm in that? So
the worst thing for me is when loads of people, when I told them I had ADHD, they were like, oh yeah, we could have told you that. And I'm like, why didn't you think about telling me?
That's the thing. That's something that I find, it kind of annoys me a little bit, because it's like people say that with me, and it's like, oh yeah, like I could have told you that, or like
I don't think
stuff
people
like
realise like the severity of it and how much it can affect your life. People just think it's a quirky disorder, and it's not. It's like debilitating at times, and it obviously affects different people in many different ways, but the basis is all the same sort of thing.
Yeah, because it's like, with me when I got tested, they told me I have like combined ADHD, so I'm inattentive and hyperactive.
Yeah. Were you hyperactive like externally, or was it all in your head?
Either, like, it could be either. Like, mentally I can be quite hyperactive, thinking about all these different things at all different times, especially like if I'm in work, I'll be doing like these 2 emails, sorting this person out, sorting that out, and like doing all that. And it's like, I don't know how I keep track of it sometimes, to be honest.
I don't think.
I think it's one of them where it's like, oh yeah, I was doing this, and then I was doing this. I find the things that I was doing, and then somehow by the end of the day, all them things are done.
Do you write lists or anything?
I do. That's something that I started doing quite recently, really, because it was only kind of after diagnosis I was like, right, okay, I'm going to start doing things now.
Yeah.
To start helping and help my brain a bit. So then I had like the extra large post-it notes like next to my desk at work, and I'm always writing bits down on there, like whether it's like work stuff, personal bits, and all that sorts of stuff. But then
because when we get something in our head, we'll be like, if we'll remember that. We won't remember.
That's straight up lie.
And then you'll realise it 3 days later. Oh shit, I was meant to do that.
I get it now. I'll have like people coming in, I've been like, oh yeah, I sent this email on whatever day, and I'll check, and I'll be like, oh shit, yeah, I did read that. But and I was like, I'll reply to it. Yeah, and it's like,
it's the same with texts off people as well, because you can read a text and you'll have all the best intentions to message them back, and then you'll just completely forget. Yeah,
that happens quite a lot for me actually as well. That's another one, because it's like, if I'm busy doing something, if I'm like cleaning the house, if I'm out, if I'm with people or whatever else, if I get a text message, I'll like pick up my phone, have a look at the notification, and I'll think, right, I've not got enough time to reply to that now. I'll reply to that later on when I get home. Or
I've only realised recently that you can unread messages on WhatsApp, so it doesn't say a one notification, but it keeps a notification, which is handy, because then you're like, I need to message that person back.
I've started doing that as well. Like, I'll open it and read it, and then I'd forget to reply then, and I'd be like, why has this person replied to me? And I go back on the chat and I'm like, because I haven't replied to them.
Yeah. And you think they're being a knob, but in theory it's just you forgot.
Yeah. But then that's when the anxiety comes in of like, oh shit, like I hope they don't think that I was being funny with them. I hope they're not taking it personally that I've ignored them.
And then we don't want to message back because we feel like it's been too long. So then it goes even longer. Yeah. And then people think, oh, this person's not been horrible, and it's not. That's not the case. Like, we do feel stuff a lot more, and our feelings for people are heightened because we feel everything massively.
Oh, it's ridiculous. Like, yeah, it is. It's mental. Because I'll message like my friends. Like, I've got a friend who's away dancing, like working away, and I'll message her every now and then, like apologise and be like, I'm so sorry I've not messaged you. I am thinking about you, and I am watching what you're doing and everything, and I do miss you and do still love you, and I am still your friend.
The thing is though, like, if people are our friends, they'll know what we're like, and they're our people, do you know what I mean? And they're definitely the people who know you're not doing it on purpose, and you don't mean to ignore, or it's not even like you're ignoring, you genuinely just forget. And again, with working memory, like, if people are out of sight, you do forget they exist. Yeah. Not in the way that we don't care about them.
Yeah, not in like a horrible way.
But they literally like don't even pop into our mind, and then all of a sudden, like a couple of weeks later, you're like, oh shit, I need to message such and such back. And it's like, fuck, now I look like a knob because I haven't messaged you back, and you think I'm being rude. But you've got to start, like, you've got to just be kinder to yourself, because that's just how we are, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And the tablets help a little bit. Like, I know we've spoke about when we've done that photo shoot. What milligram? You're on 70 milligrams?
No, I'm on 50, but I've asked to up it. For some reason I thought I was on higher, but no, I've been taking Elvance on 50. but I've asked if I can up my dose, because
your brain still doesn't switch off, does it?
Yeah, it just doesn't.
Which is mad.
Does not switch off yet. Like,
do you not think it's helped at all?
It has in some ways. Like, it has in my external hyperactivity, but not internal. Right. So it's like, externally, I'll seem a lot more mellow, a lot more calmer, a lot more chilled out. Regulate my emotions a lot easier and stuff like that. My
tablets don't even bother for me, which is obviously weird because it like affects different people in different ways.
Yeah, like, don't get me wrong, like, it touches the sides, and but I still have times where I will, like, if it's something that's really impacted me emotionally, then it's as if the medication is
I fully get that.
With anger, sadness, anything like that, then it's like
a physical hurt, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like when we feel stuff and we feel it, like rejected or feel like someone's done us wrong, or we feel angry, like it's literally like inside.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like the medications helped with like internal like thinking, internal hyperactivity, like with the organizing things, and I can plan out a lot easier.
But your mind's still racing 24/7.
But I'm still racing, thinking of other things.
Well, if you're on a low, obviously not on the highest dose. I think they say 70 is the highest dose.
Yeah, I think it is.
I think they can like give you an extra 20 or something for like the afternoon, because I certainly know when it comes out of my system.
Yeah.
Like everyone's like used to go on about like an Elvance crash, but I don't sort of crash. I sort of get a little bit tired, but I don't know. It's just, I just notice myself fidgeting, and
I know what you mean there, actually, because thinking about it now, because like when I was doing my forms and everything and speaking to them about like my medication and going through all this, like they'd say to me on the questionnaire that I'd have to send back to them, what time do I take the meds? And then what time do I feel it wear off?
Yeah.
And I'm there and I'm like, I don't know what time it wears off, because I'm still getting some symptoms like throughout the day. And
it depends on how much sleep you've had, what you've eaten.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of, like if I don't eat anything and I take my meds, they hit me like a ton of bricks. But if I eat something, then they come up gradually.
Yeah.
So it's all like other factors as well. But they're supposed to last 12 hours. They don't even last 6 for me, I don't think.
No, because I get like that. Like when I was on my lower dose, I'd get to the point where it'd be around, I'd take my tablets around 6:30 in the morning. It'd get to around 2, 3, and I'm there and I'm like, I'm done now. I'm done for the day. And that's when I'd probably crash. But that was on the other pill that begins with an X, and I can't remember.
Is it Concert or Xagatin?
That's it.
I know a couple of people who have been on that, and they've said it just makes you feel really weird, like scatty.
Yeah, that one. It's funny that one, because that one I feel like kind of really like mellowed me out. It was
what made you want to come off it then?
Well, it was when they changed it, because they didn't do a high enough dose. So that's when they put me on the Elvance. I
don't know if they can. I don't know how it works. I don't know if you can have 2 stimulant medications at the same time.
I wish. I wish. But no, because it's like, around like 2 o'clock and that, I'd just be like flagging then, and I'd start fidgeting again, and
I just start yawning and that.
Yeah, that's it. The yawning is when the yawning comes in. I'm like, I'm tired. I want to go to bed. But then lately, I'll be there at like 11 o'clock at night, and I'm still hammering the backboard into our chest of drawers. And
that's hyper focus, that though.
Yeah.
That's not that won't be your medication. I mean, they stay in your system for a day and a half, but they don't work to the full potential. Like I've picked up so much knowledge on like tablets and that. It's like mad, because I speak to that many people, but they once they wear off, you sort of that'll be a state of hyper focus.
Well, that's the thing though, because that's what I was like, it will be hyper focus, because I'm like I want to get this done. I want to get this done now, because if I don't, then I'm going to leave it half finished there for 2 weeks.
Yeah, it won't get done, because it won't get done.
Yeah, and it just won't get done. But then it's like after that, it's like really hard to switch off.
Yeah.
Like when I come out of that hyper focus, it's like my brain is still in that wired
on. Yeah.
But then even on days when I'm like not doing stuff, I almost feel like I'm in that hyper focus phase, like that where I'm like,
your brain's that switched on.
Yeah, and it will, like, I'll literally be doing nothing, and I'll try everything. I'll get like a bath, I'll have a nice warm drink, I'll get into bed, I'll get relaxed, I'll do a little bit of self-care, like, which normally will bring me down and like kind of whatever else. But I'm there and I'm still like pinging.
And then you go on your phone and you sit on your phone and then you doom scroll for like 3 hours, and then you're like, shit, it's 1 o'clock in the morning, I've got to be up at 6 a.m.
Yeah, and I'm like, and then I wake up and I'm so tired and trying to get out of bed. And then it's like, it's a nightmare. It just becomes this vicious circle then. Yeah. But then it's like, I'd think that because I was tired from that night, like from that night before of only having like 5 hours, 4 hours, however long, I can then do that again the following day.
I seem to find, right, that I come up with the best ideas and the best, like, I'm more switched on when I've had less sleep. And it's really weird because we need sleep to function, because we do get naggy and like irritable and stuff. But honestly, like when I went to London with my cousin, I was up for 24 hours, and I literally done so much, like, for attentive and personal stuff on that journey home, and I'd been up for 24 hours. I was knackered, but I was just switched on. And then obviously I got into bed at like 4 a.m. after being up for like 24, 25 hours, and I just couldn't sleep. And I'm just like that, oh my God, why can't I sleep?
Well, that'll probably be because you had like so much stimulus throughout the day to keep your brain going. Because if you were at home and doing that, you probably wouldn't have been able to do it. You probably would have crashed after about...
I do find that, like, over the years, like, I've said to so many people, like, oh, I don't like this, I don't like that. So one of them, when I first like noticed I was getting anxious about stuff, was like busy places. Like loads of people, I just hate busy places, and I never knew what it was. I just thought I was a bit, I'm not socially awkward. I've always tried to like be liked, so maybe I was masking at the same time, but like just busy places really, really overwhelm me. And then obviously after lockdown, I couldn't stand people because you were so used to going everywhere and there was being no one there, which for me was good, but it was also torture at the same time, because you couldn't do anything you wanted to do. So you were stuck in a box and you just went insane. Fortunately, I worked mostly through it. But yeah, like my drinking and all the use of stuff went through the roof during lockdown, just because I was bored.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because I came out of, so when I went into lockdown, I was in a relationship at the time, and I was still quite somewhat outgoing and somewhat a bubbly person. But I calmed down at the time because of the relationship I was in. But if it wasn't for that relationship, I was still like a really bubbly person. I'm like a extrovert, always speaking to people, a social butterfly, people used to call me. And then after lockdown and after being isolated from people for such a long time, I then, because before lockdown, I was going out on weekends, going like to the pub, speaking to people. Like I could go out to a smoking area and just like chat to people. Like it was the easiest thing.
That was the best part of a nightclub, speaking to everyone in the smoking shop.
Oh my God, smoking area is the best place on a night out.
Rosie's.
Like fuck the pubs, fuck being inside with the music, just get me outside.
Unless
from
you
the
were a
smoking
banging
area.
and you're straight down onto the third floor.
That was it, You'd be walking out the door to go to the smoking area, and then like Calvin Harris or something would come on, it was like right back
Snoop
in.
Dogg and Dr. Dre came on, and I was there.
So right after this song. But yeah, and it's like after COVID, then it was like I'd go to the pub and I'd be like nervous to speak to people.
You're on edge.
And it's like, it was weird because I feel like I'd have this like body tremor then, where it's like, where obviously it was physical anxiety, where you're like, you feel like you're constantly like shaking, but physically you don't look it. It's like it's weird. And like I still get like that now. Like I'm trying so hard to get through it, but it's like night and day, like before and after COVID.
Black and white.
Like black and white. It's like completely like changed it. Like
COVID's definitely changed me. Like obviously I used to go out, used to love going on nights out, used to love going out, getting drunk, stuff like that. And obviously I drank that much during lockdown. It's pretty much all you could do. That when everything started opening, something happened towards the end of lockdown, which I got arrested for and I'm not proud of. So I think that scared me massively as well, because obviously I did not have control of my drinking. Not like I was an alcoholic or anything like that, but I had to drink to excess. Like I couldn't.
There was no turning point where you could be like,
it wasn't
okay,
just one. It wasn't just one. It was like I do need to finish it. Like if I had a bottle of wine, it was like you finish the bottle of wine and open another one, but I couldn't leave that half bottle of wine until the next night or something.
Yeah.
So I think that scared me, and then obviously the fact that lots of people were about again.
Yeah.
And I was so used to having a close circle.
Yeah.
I think it just made me not want to do it. And then it was only, so I did actually stop drinking after I got arrested, and then I got with somebody else and slowly started drinking again, started drinking wine, thought it'd have a different effect on me. And then obviously sooner rather than later, I was drinking like I used to drink, going out all the time, and then other stuff was happening, and it just is bad. Like I can't do anything by art. I don't do anything by art. I give 100% to everything.
Yeah.
And in some things it's really bad because it just leads to other stuff.
Yeah. It's like with drinking, it's like I remember watching a video of, it was like this addict, like he was like talking to someone, or he was an ex-addict, and he was talking to like another guy on some like video podcast or something. He was talking about how his journey went, and he said he was the same, like he was really bad on on drugs and everything like that, and then he got off it, and then he thought, oh well,
I'll just try it.
I'll just try
and do it.
It was like he just tried drinking, and then as soon as he started drinking,
your inhibitions
disappear. That's when he was like, the switch flipped, because it's almost like a habitual thing where it's like, or it's like ritual, like where it's like, okay, I'm drinking now. So his body was like, okay, so you're drinking, so now when are you going to take the drugs? And it's so,
but for me,
that's
it's
when
not
he
even
was
that. So if I go to a pub, I feel like I want to get on it now.
Really?
Yeah, it's bad. So I stay away from pubs and stuff. Like, say if I go out with work and stuff, I'll go for a meal and then I'll go home now. Well, it's easy because I drive, but when I get drunk, I've got no way of controlling. So I get angry and stuff at times. Like I can completely lose my shit. Now I know it's my borderline personality disorder as well, but I have no way of recognizing when I'm overstimulated, when I'm overwhelmed, when something's affecting me, because the alcohol just takes away that feeling, because I feel so good, but then I can be bad when I'm drunk as well. Yeah. Like I'm worse when I'm drunk because all inhibitions go out the window.
Yeah. I just get no filter and I just say whatever the fuck comes to my brain, and that is not great.
Yeah,
it's not great.
Highly impulsive.
That gets me into a lot of trouble on nights out, like before, and I am extremely impulsive on nights out. When you were saying,
you disappear.
I disappear.
Yeah, I used to call it the Houdini.
Yeah, people would come up to me after an hour and be like, "Where have you been? We've been looking for you." And I'm like,
"You've made new
I've
mates,
been upstairs,
or
I've been chatting to people." Yeah, and I'm like,
but the thing with me is I'd make friends and then I'd buy them a bottle of vodka.
Yeah.
And then that was me. Like I was the grey goose wanker, and I'm really ashamed to admit it. But that was my way of trying to fit in, and that was my way of trying to make mates. I thought I had to buy people's affection. Yeah. And you don't.
No, it's like that people pleaser in, I think, all of us that we do.
I'm a chronic people pleaser, and I feel like I thought that's how people made friends. Well, it's not. Like
that would be a fear of rejection, that though.
100%, yeah. So all these things, I look back and I'm thinking, fuck, like shit just makes sense.
It does. I feel like after diagnosis and after you start like really researching into all these different things and where they start stemming from, it's almost like a domino. It's like once you're diagnosed, that first domino is knocked over and everything else starts making sense.
Yeah.
Because it's the same with me. Like after I got diagnosed, and then when I started, I don't know, speaking to people, or it's like even just having conversations with people, like when I've been talking to people and they've said to me, like, also, what were you like in your childhood or anything like that? It's like I'll start talking about stuff and then I'll remember things and I'll be like, oh my God, yeah, I used to do that. And I'll be like, that's a huge symptom. Yeah. And no one even...
But you look back now and you think, how did no one pick it up?
Yeah, like how did we miss that? Like for school, every day I was late.
Yeah, but I was under the impression that I never, ever, ever thought I was ADHD. Before my ex pointed it out saying, I think you should look at ADHD, it never even crossed my mind. And I literally hyper-focused on borderline personality disorder, bipolar, these anxiety disorders, depression, like everything other than ADHD, because in my head, ADHD was just the naughty boy in school.
Yeah.
And it's not at all.
Yeah.
And it's weird because obviously everyone's like, men and women have different symptoms. I have more symptoms like a woman than what men do, because men are, well, boys are supposed to be like externally hyperactive.
Yeah.
Whereas mine's always been in my head. I remember going to the doctors every time they put me on antidepressants and going, my brain doesn't switch off.
Yeah. Yeah.
It doesn't switch off.
Yeah.
Why has no one turned around and gone, that's internal hyperactivity?
Yeah.
And I've been told that I've got both hyperactivity and inattentive, but I'm in the top 5% severe ADHD. Going off the charts and stuff. Like, I'm on 70 milligrams of Elvance. I do a QB test and it's still off the scale.
Yeah.
I can't sit still. I still fidget. Like, it's calmed me down and it's chilled me out. And I did get that. I cried when it first happened because my brain just switched off. And I know you said to me, like, you've never had that, but it wasn't a way of like, my brain doesn't switch off. I still have millions of things going through my head, but it's like, I can make sense of stuff. Yeah. And stuff doesn't affect me. So I'd catastrophize a lot. So I'd think of like make situations up in my head or think something's going to happen. Then my body would start reacting to it because it goes into fight or flight mode. So then I'm getting triggered. Then my mood changes. And it's all because of what's going on in here. Yeah. And then I'll just hyper focus on that one thing because in my head it's real. Yeah. Even though it's not. And the person you're thinking about hasn't done or said anything that your brain's telling you, but in your body thinks it has, because you're now in a state of anxiousness and down. And then you get snotty with the other person. Yes. Then you look like a knob because they haven't actually done anything. Yeah. And it looks like you're being controlling, but in reality, we
convince ourselves, don't we?
Yeah. And it's so mad that like people without ADHD will not understand to the full extent. They never will. Yeah. And it's really difficult to try and tell people, listen, like, this is how I am, because you probably would come across as a bit controlling, like, oh, you can't say this, you can't say that. It's like, no, I'm just trying to avoid my triggers. Yeah. Like, if I ever get with someone, I'm like, you can't say no to me, and they'll be like, what? I'm like, no, you can say no, but don't go no, because I'll just snap.
Follow on from that, give me a reason why, or
I don't think that's a good idea now. Yeah. Maybe we should blah, blah, blah. Give me a reason. Don't just go, no, you're not doing that. Because I feel like I'm being treated like a child. Yeah. And being treated like a kid, I feel like I'm stupid. Yeah. Which then annoys me at the same time. So I'm now noticing my triggers. Have you noticed anything that triggers you?
Being told I have an attitude. Yeah. That's a big one.
So that's like a bit of someone like, what was it?
That's like so like what you were saying then, it's like with the
it's like someone's like criticizing you, isn't it?
Yeah, because with me, and this is only something that I've kind of added up recently, where it's like I'll be feeling some type of way and I won't know how to word it or express it, so I'll kind of go in this Max, shut up. Sorry. Don't know how to express it or anything, so I'll just kind of go into this like shutdown mode, where I won't, I don't know, it's weird. It's like I'll kind of go quiet. Like,
is that because your brain starts going mental?
Yeah, because I'm thinking about stuff and I'm trying to process, so I kind of go quiet. But then when I go quiet and people like might ask me like, are you okay or something, or it's like,
it makes it worse because you feel like you're being weird.
Yeah.
And then you start overthinking that.
Yeah. But like, I'll try and explain something, and then the way I'm explaining it isn't coming across to that person, like, so they'd understand it. Yeah. So then they get frustrated because they're not understanding what I'm saying.
Or you say something and they take it the wrong way, and you're like, no, I didn't mean it like that.
Yeah, literally. Yeah. And then I'll be like, no, like, that's not what I meant. And then I'll get frustrated, and then they'll be like,
yeah, they think you're getting frustrated with them, but you're not. You're getting frustrated with yourself.
Yeah, and I'll be like, oh, okay, whatever, it doesn't matter, we'll leave it. And then I'll be told like, I've got an attitude.
Then you feel like that you're being rejected.
And then I'm like, no, you just not understanding what I'm saying. And I'm like, I've not got an attitude, I'm just frustrated and I can't express it, and I don't know how to.
You more then.
Yeah, so it's like, so that thing is for me a really big trigger, and it's something that I've only just picked up on, because it's like with people like us who are ADHD, autistic, have BPD, any of these other neurodivergent things, or issues or anything like that, the wording mental disability, I feel like gives us like a bit of a negative stigma, because the word mental, if you say, oh, someone's mental, you think someone's like nuts, they're a psycho or whatever else. Like there's this whole like
I used to
negative.
think that was a good thing. That's what my persona used to be on, because I thought no one would like mess with me.
Yeah.
If I acted nuts.
Yeah.
And I'd say and just act like an absolute madhead.
So I used to act out and lash out because I'd be like, if I look mental, no one's going to want to mess with me. Yeah. It's like, if I'm there screaming at someone, yeah, exactly. Whereas inside, I'm like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this?
What things have you done to like help yourself, obviously learning about it and stuff, but like what do you think helps you?
What helps me? Oh gosh. Well, actually, when I was saying earlier, like I started writing things down in a post-it note. I'd then accumulate a load of post-it notes, and then I was like, I need somewhere to put these post-it notes, so I ended up getting myself a daily planner.
Okay.
And
yeah, because everyone goes, I'll put it in your notes in your phone, but you put it in your notes in your phone and you forget about it. I've got millions of lists on my phone.
Oh, I went through my notes the other day and I had to clear out and delete a load of stuff because
I've got stuff from 2012 on there.
Literally, I was looking at things, I was going through them and I was like, what do I mean by this? And I'm like, what is that? I'm like, I genuinely have no idea what I meant. But at the time I was like, I'll know what that means.
Yeah.
I don't. Not a clue. But then daily planners, I've tried in the past and I've been against, and I've thought these don't work for me because I've had ones where they've got the date and they don't work for me because I don't like having gaps, and they're like the turning the page. I don't like if I've got like a busy Monday and I've got stuff on a Monday and then there's nothing on a Tuesday and then there's something over here on a Thursday. I'm like, there's half a page wasted. I'm like, why? So instead I found this daily planner where it's like you can put your own date in. So what I do is I put the Monday date and I'll do it for the week instead of each day. Yeah,
that's a good idea.
And then what I'll do is like each time in the evening I'll turn it over and or on a Sunday I'll
set yourself some time to.
Yeah, I'll sit on a Sunday when I'm at my makeup desk after my bath, after I've done all my face and all that sort of stuff. I'll get me book out and I'll think, right, what is it this week that I know I need to do? Whether it be call O2 to change my payment plan,
order your medication,
or order my medication, or book a hair appointment. Literally, like the smallest stuff like that, which I have gone months and months and months without doing because I'm like, oh yeah, I'll do that tomorrow, and tomorrow never comes.
But it does, but you forgot and you do it in 2 weeks.
And it's like, so for me, if I've got it there as a week, if I sit on a Sunday, I'll look back at that week that I've just done and I'll think, right, what have I ticked off and what have I not ticked off? And then that'll move over into next week.
But there's some things as well I can imagine you don't even have to do because you're like, oh, I need to do that, or I need to buy it. I should start doing it when I want to buy something.
Yeah, that's why I started doing it, because I started saying to myself, like, oh, I want to get this for the flat, or I want to get this for the flat, or I need to get work clothes, I need to get this, I need to get that. And then I forget, like earlier, I needed to get fags from the shop. Get home, I need fags from the shop. Like, and it's like,
I should do it so I'm not impulsive buying stuff.
Oh, I see.
Like, oh, I really need that in that moment.
Yeah.
That's why my house is full of stuff that I've only used once.
Yeah. Well, I was quite bad at that. I was a really bad impulse buyer, and I'd end up with bags and bags and bags full of clothes I've never worn.
Yeah, my wardrobe's still got tags on.
Yeah, same. Like literally same. I've got loads of things in there that I'm like, I ordered or I bought, and I'm like, oh, I'll keep it because I'll wear it at some other point, and I just don't. But a way I've stopped myself with the impulse buying is if I look at something, like if there's a pair of shoes or a dress or anything like that, I'll be like, oh yeah, I really like that. And if it's the time of the month where I've just been paid and stuff, and I know I could buy it, but I'll think, right, let me just go into this shop, and if I'm still thinking about that dress in this shop, then I'll go back and get it. So that's what I've started doing with myself. I'll go and find something, or if it's something that like I like but I don't necessarily want or need, if I'm then thinking about it a little bit later or the following day or whatever else, then I'll go back and get it, because I'll be like, okay, I'm certain I need it. I've not forgotten about it. If I've not walked out of that shop and forgotten about it, then like if I forgot about it when I walked out the shop, didn't need it.
My impulse buying is that bad. Like, I'm that impulsive that I'm 30 years old, 31 next month, and I've literally just asked my dad to take over my money.
Yeah.
Like, I literally had to swallow my pride. And do you know what? It's probably something I should have done a very, very, very long time ago, because I've always been awful with money. I've never known, like, it's not that I don't know the value of it. Like, I'm in a very fortunate position with my job. It's just, I see something and I instantly want it, whether I need it or not. Or in the past, it's not even just been for me, it's been for partners.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it's been like, oh, they want that. And then
I'm a terrible impulse buyer for partners.
Yeah, but I think that's our way of showing affection.
It's
not a way of going, look what I can buy you. It's like, oh, I've seen this and thought of you. Do you know what I was
going to say, that's my way of showing someone that I've thought of you. It's like,
it doesn't have to be expensive. It can just be a chocolate bar.
Literally, like just something simple.
I've spent tens of thousands of pounds on ex-girlfriends in the past, honestly.
Oh, I've helped ex-boyfriends buy parts for cars and all sorts of stuff in the past. And it's
because
like,
we want people to feel good, because we don't want people feeling bad, and we are people pleasers. And obviously now I can't go out and buy what I want. Yeah. And it's not really it's the online shopping for me. It's so if everything now, I do not fit in the 21st century, because I can buy whatever I want at my fingertips. Yeah. And it's dangerous, because I've got to the point where it's like I either have to withdraw money every week, but then I was still spending in the bank account, because I was going £10 on Amazon, £10 on eBay, £10 on Amazon. So now I've literally just gone to my dad, I'm going to send you all my money. My bills will come out on a set date. Whatever I've got left, just divvy it up. Yeah. Help me save some money, because I've never had savings. Yeah. Ever. Neither. And I could have had a lot of money saved up now if I'd done this for like 10 years ago. Yeah. I had this conversation with my dad, and he was just like, well, just don't buy it. And I'm like, it's not that easy. I wish it was that easy, Dad. Like, I really, it's difficult to have this conversation, because my dad's extremely good with money. And like, so's my sister. My mum's a bit like me. But I'm like, I get paid all this money, I then have to spend it. It's like it burns a hole in my pocket. I wish I could just go, I don't need that. Otherwise I wouldn't be in this position, would I? Like, I wouldn't have been in this position for the last 15 years since I've been earning money. Like, when I was in my apprenticeship, I got paid £305 a month. It would be gone that weekend. Yeah. Because I'd go out and buy everyone else drinks. Yeah. Or it'd go on other stuff, or I'd owe more people money. Yeah. It's like Klarna, ClearPay, PayPal. Like, oh God, I literally split everything up into three, thinking, oh, it's just easier. In theory, no, it's really bad. Like, I was doing it for like £60 items, so I was just paying 20 quid. But then I'd have more money to spend on other stuff. So when I didn't do overtime one month, I'm like, shit, I don't have any money now. Yeah. Yeah, I use ClearPay and Klarna as well. And I've had times where I've been like the same, where I've bought like a good amount of things on either ClearPay or Klarna. Yeah. And it's like you say, it's the pay in three, but then you've got that pay in three, then you've got that pay in three, and then you've got that pay in three, and then it's like it was 25 the other month.
What, pay in three is all on one day? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So you may as well have just spent that 60 quid in the first place, because then you're spending more because you're doing that. Yeah, it's like splitting it. It's the weirdest thing.
I've only realised as well that obviously out of sight, out of mind, like we spoke about before, is real, and it's the same with my money. Yeah. If I don't see that money in my hands, I forget how much I've got. Yeah. I won't check my bank account because I'll forget. Yeah. Like, honestly, like the amount of people at work who are like, how have you never got any money? I'm like, I
never check my bank.
I don't know, to be honest. Yeah. I really don't know. And people would go mental if they knew how much money I spent. Oh God, on stuff. And it's not even like, it's like I've got a drug habit, but I don't. Yeah. It's like when I did have a drug habit, it's because it gives you that dopamine. Yeah. Because you think, it gives you that good, feel-good chemical. Because buying something, and it's the same with Attentive. Like, when I first started the company, like I'd buy this. I had about 25 products. I didn't know what was going to sell, and believe it or not many of them did.
Yeah.
But in my head, they were going to sell like hotcakes, and so now I've learned my lesson. I buy samples and stuff now, but instead of just going and buying 100 items for something that I don't even know
I do sample sales.
Yeah. What was I saying? I've completely lost my trail of thought.
Sorry, that's my fault. That's my fault.
What else you do then? So say if you get like annoyed or anything like that,
I swear to God,
do you still get like angry in that?
Yeah, I find when I get angry or when I get annoyed, I have to remove myself.
Yeah.
From,
which is easier said than done sometimes.
Which is a lot easier said than done sometimes, very much so, especially if it's something I feel passionate about.
Yeah.
Then
and especially when whatever, it doesn't even, like, you can get angry at something, at someone, but it not actually be them.
Yeah.
It's your internal dialogue. Yeah. And I've realised now that obviously with BPD as well, I either love someone or I hate them. Like it's black or white. Like it's the same as ADHD, but it's like you either are madly in love with this person, or if something triggers you, they are like your worst enemy. Which is why I know why I can be so nasty to people.
Yeah.
And it's like I perceive this person to be a threat, and they're not a threat. And then when I do come down, I'm obviously very remorseful. I'm riddled with guilt. But that part of my brain just wasn't working.
Yeah.
And that they were a threat at one point. It's basically going back to like caveman. Like I'm being threatened, so I'm gonna like survive.
Protect yourself, like, yeah.
And it's trying to notice your triggers and get out of that habit.
Yeah, like I'm still in the early stages of my journey, so I'm still trying to I'm still slowly identifying my triggers. And it, like I say, like with the there's probably, oh my God, there's so many more. I feel like it's when you're actually talking about it, it's like,
yeah, you think about
oh, there again.
Yeah.
And it's like, but I know I've got a couple of triggers, and it's like, or someone's tone of voice, like if someone else isn't feeling okay, and it might be something absolutely nothing to do with me. They could have had something go on at home,
or they're just having a shit day,
or whatever, and it's like, I'll pick up on it, and then I'll be like,
we're very empathetic, aren't we? We absorb other people's emotions, and it's trying to learn to not do that, which is so difficult.
Yeah, and that's the thing, like, I kind of struggle with. But then at the same time, I've kind of done the opposite. I've sort of leaned into it, and I found that's made me a bit more of a bearable person, in a sense of, if I'm feeling that you're feeling that way, because I'll feel it. Like it's the weirdest thing. Like I'll feel it in my chest. I'll feel it like with my whole body. Like,
and we'll do anything in our power to make you not feel that way.
Yeah. So
then we'll put ourselves in a worse position than that person was in, because we give you all our energy, and then it's like, oh, you're all right now, but I'm feeling like shit because I'm burnt out emotionally and mentally.
Yeah. But see, that gives me, helping people in that way gives me some sort of stimulus. So it's like, I will feel a bit drained in the sense of, wow, that was a lot, but then I'll also have that stimulus from helping someone, or from having that conversation and that interaction, and just being there for someone. Because in my mind, like afterwards, after I've had the conversation with someone, and after they've done the whole, that's better, I'll say to them, like, did I help then? Like, did that help speaking to me? Like, was that okay? Like, I didn't, like, just to kind of reassure that person as well, in a sense, like reassuring myself in like, okay, I've helped, I've done a good job, I've helped, but also reassuring that person of being like, is there anything more I can do? But then that can be quite exhausting. And that's like the people pleaser.
That's when you give a lot to someone. Like I said to you before, like I get a lot of messages through Attentive and stuff like that, and I've had to, like, I've got personal Chris, and then you've got business or Attentive Chris. So yes, I am the same person. I don't pretend to be anybody. I'm not, but I have to switch off from one or another, because they start interfering with each other. Like, obviously I said I had my business WhatsApp on my personal phone. I had to put that on the work phone, because I was waking up to messages, and it just overwhelmed me, and I don't need that overwhelming feeling the second I wake up, because that instantly is going to put me in a bad stead for the day. I'm going to start as well putting my phone away from my bed as well.
Yeah,
because the amount of times I wake up, well, it's every morning. You wake up, go on your phone. Yeah. And it's like, nah, you need to get up, go
Phones
downstairs. Yeah. You can be addicted to anything. I'm addicted to spending money.
That's true, actually. You can be addicted to anything. Anything that is like a repetitive like action, it's an addiction.
Well, anything for us, which dopamine's our main addiction. So we'll do anything to get that dopamine. Yeah, we're constantly chasing that high, like constantly. And that's one thing I must admit that I did notice actually when taking my medication, is that I didn't feel like I was constantly trying to chase that high anymore. Like I felt like I could sit in my sit
own,
and be you. Yeah, I've definitely started to find me. I fully agree with you, but like, I don't know, I haven't slapped that much, probably a bit too much motivation. I feel like I can get 1,000,001 things done when I was only doing 999,000 things, and then I do them extra 2 things and it completely just sends me over the edge. But because I've got all this energy and I have the ability to do it and not just sit there and procrastinate, but then I've burnt myself out. So again, I'm going to start writing lists and having I'm going to do things every day. The problem with me is I'll write a list for the week and I'll do it all in like 3 hours. Yeah. And I'm like, how have I done that?
Yeah, but then the thing is, it'll probably calm you in the sense of, okay, everything's done now.
No, because I have to find something else to do, because I can't just sit there.
I was going to say, that was going to be my next thing. But then you'll get to that calm state and then you'll think, oh, hang on. No, there's this as well.
Or you'll find stuff to do, because I can't. The only time I don't do anything is when I'm in my hot tub, and then I'll sit in that for 6 hours. Yeah. And realise why I'm like chemically burnt from that much chlorine in my skin.
Shriveled up.
Yeah, look like a prune, honestly.